Hello and welcome everybody once again to RCW Strike Zone. We are coming to you live from Erie, Pennsylvania, and we are one night removed, or 1 day left until RCW's Hell on Earth tomorrow night. Hello again, welcome everybody. My name is Tubas Flat and I'll be your host for another exciting episode of RCW Strike Zone. Tonight we have we got two fatal four-way matches, including we have two fatal four-way matches happening on later on tonight to determine number one contender for Cesaro's RCW Twitch TV Championship, as well as Chris Jericho's RCW World Heavyweight Championship. And we're going to hear from each of our general managers, Edge and Christian, regarding who's going to be in each of the fatal four-way matches as we start off RCW Strike Zone. What's going on, Joseph? Thank you for the shout out over on Twitter. As well as to prepare for tomorrow night in their big clash, Randy Orton and Finn Balor will compete in two different matches. Randy Orton competed last week in a steel cage against AJ Styles and won. And Finn Balor was in a no disqualification match against Kane. This time around, Randy Orton faces Sami Zayn in a no disqualification match. And Finn Balor faces Baron Corbin inside of a steel cage. Erie, Pennsylvania. This is now the Peep Show here in RCW. Now, as many of you know, me and Edge formally accepted our positions as general managers here of RCW, and as our first act, we are going to announce who's going to be in each of the Fatal 4-Ways later on tonight. I am pleased to announce for the first Fatal 4-Way match of the evening that it's going to be number one contendership for the RCW Twitch TV Championship. The men competing in that match will be Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, Kevin Owens, and Kalisto. And again, Edge will come out here later on tonight to announce who will be in the Fatal 4-Way for the number one contendership for Chris Jericho's RCW Heavyweight Championship for tomorrow night's pay-per-view, Hell on Earth. Big names from one of our general managers for one of tonight's Fatal 4-Way matches. The former World Heavyweight Champion Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, the upstart, Kevin Owens, and Kalisto in a Fatal 4-Way. But coming up next would be the in-ring debut for the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. As last week he came out interrupting Luke Harper, and Ty Dillinger believes that he can be more of a roadblock in Harper's quest to become champion. Luke Harper, the former Intercontinental Champion, NXT Tag Team Champion, and SmackDown Live Tag Team Champion, part of the Freebird rule. Luke Harper's been on a rampage as of late, defeating the likes of Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler. And 2 weeks ago, he defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in a one-on-one match. And the only person that's been able to defeat Luke Harper has been the Twitch TV champion Cesaro. But we've got a perky upstart. The perfect 10. Ty Dillinger making his in-ring debut in moments. Thinking that he's going to put a stop to Luke Harper. As the crowd here in Erie, Pennsylvania getting behind the perfect 10. Ty Dillinger, and I've got goosebumps here at ringside. Man, who has certainly made a name for himself down at NXT. As everybody's chanting 10, 10, 10. You can even see the crowd doing the perfect 10 hand motions. Grab firmly behind Ty Dillinger in his in-ring debut. And of course, Ty Dillinger making his WWE debut in the Royal Rumble of 2017, entering at number 10. And here we go, Ty Dillinger and Luke Harper. Luke Harper already sending Ty Dillinger halfway across the ring, but Ty Dillinger with a shoulder tackle to the big man. And again, last week in our main event, Team Altitude regained the RCW Tag Team Championships against the former champions Enzo and Cass. And they become our first ever two-time tag team champions. As now Luke Harper seems to be dominating the perfect 10, but I spoke a little too soon there. Ty Dillinger with a DDT. As well as Nikki Bella regaining her RCW Women's Championship against Bayley a couple of weeks ago. Everybody's looking for the upstart Ty Dillinger to defeat Luke Harper here in his in-ring debut. What a shocking upset it would be, indeed. Just when we thought they were shocking upsets when Luke Harper defeated Ambrose, Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. All former world champions as Ty Dillinger meets the announce table, courtesy of Luke Harper. And a back body drop to the outside of the ring on the thin padding. Harper with clubbing blows to the back of Ty Dillinger. And the ref now on a count of 7 as Harper mercilessly sends Ty Dillinger back in the ring to further destroy him. Ty Dillinger showing a little bit of life here with a snap suplex. Dillinger middle rope and a splash to Luke Harper. Also coming up later on tonight, we have Chris Jericho taking on a debuting Curtis Axel. As well as we finally get to see them go one-on-one, or to further prepare for their match tomorrow night at Hell on Earth. It's been confirmed right now that Seth Rollins will take on Samoa Joe. But tonight Joe is in action against Dolph Ziggler. Ty Dillinger onto the cover, onto Luke Harper. Harper seeming to be absolute. Excuse me, Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger looking for the tiebreaker here. There it is, the tiebreaker into the cover. And Harper kicking out at ease out of the tiebreaker. Ty Dillinger made a name for himself down in NXT being the extreme underdog, but I don't know if he can survive Luke Harper. Oh my God. Harper with a back suplex to the apron. The hardest part of the ring apron. Ty Dillinger seeming to shake it off quickly. So Harper hits him with a European uppercut. Ty Dillinger with a atomic drop. Into another drop. Fireman's carry counter by Luke Harper to Ty Dillinger. And a backbreaker. Honestly, this is the longest match that Harper has had since he's been on his rampage, destroying everybody in his path. This is the longest match he's had. As Harper now shoots the half with Ty Dillinger. And Dillinger kicks out. Oh no, now Harper's looking for that discus clothesline that's put many men away. Harper rolls into the cover on Ty Dillinger. And it's all over. Valiant effort by Ty Dillinger in his in-ring debut, lasting honestly longer than either Shinsuke, Ziggler, or Dolph Ziggler, if I remember correctly. Harper again with another victory. Can't say I'm surprised, as that man is on a mission to become champion. There you see it again, the discus clothesline. Has put many men away. Great performance by Ty Dillinger, but not enough to stop Luke Harper. Up next is no disqualification match. Sami Zayn and Randy Orton. Sami Zayn also the underdog from the underground, but he faces a great adversary in Randy Orton. As Randy Orton prepares to go toe-to-toe with Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell tomorrow night at Hell on Earth. And of course, Sami Zayn and Kalisto have gone their separate ways as a tag team, but now they're going as singles competitor, and it's already been announced that Kalisto is going to be entered in the Fatal 4-Way. Apparently, our general managers are pleased with Kalisto to put him in the Fatal 4-Way for RCW's Twitch TV Championship #1 contender against Cesaro tomorrow night, but Sami has got bigger plans to try and knock off a multiple-time world champion in Randy Orton. Also coming tomorrow night, we will have, again, the current champions, Team Altitude, Ryder and Neville, facing the Revival, and the Revival knocking off the Dudley Boys back in a tag team Extreme Rules match at Clash of Ages, thus earning them a tag team championship opportunity. The Revival. We also have Samoa Joe taking on Seth Rollins. Balor and Orton inside Hell in a Cell. And of course we determined a #1 contender to Nikki Bella's RCW Women's Championship. Last week, that being Charlotte, who defeated Paige to become #1 contender. And that match will also be decided inside Hell in a Cell, as well as the winners of the Fatal 4-Ways tonight will face their respected champions inside Hell in a Cell. And of course, last week, Finn and Kane did not use the extra rules of no disqualification in their match last week, but let's see if Sammy and Randy Orton will abide by those rules and utilize them, as Randy Orton's in firm control of Sami Zayn at the moment. As Randy delivers a knee to the back of Sami Zayn. And Sammy with an inverted exploder suplex to Randy Orton. And of course, Randy Orton surviving the steel cage match against AJ Styles last week. Of course, a little bit of cowardice on the part of the Viper, which also that Randy Orton wants no part of Finn Balor, but he doesn't have a choice come tomorrow night inside Hell in a Cell. Sammy with a springboard. Now Sammy taking it to the former multiple-time champion. He's got Randy in a bit of a chicken wing submission here, but Randy sliding out with ease, and Randy rolling to the outside. I'll be utilizing the advantages of a no disqualification match. He grabs a baseball bat, and Sammy sending Randy careening into the announce table. There's no disqualification, no countouts in this matchup. And there won't be any tomorrow night when Randy Orton gets locked inside Hell in a Cell with the Demon King, Finn Balor, tomorrow night. And Sami Zayn is taking it to Randy Orton. And now Randy is back in full control of Sami Zayn here. Now Sammy continues to hammer down Randy Orton on the barricade. And Sammy wants to absolutely destroy Randy Orton. And Randy Orton with a DDT. But Sammy continuing to fight. We know what he's capable of. from all of his time down in NXT, the great rivalry with Cesaro. And then to finally become NXT champion. And having survived probably one of the greatest rivalries down in NXT with Kevin Owens, his former best friend. Sami looking for the Blue Thunder Bomb to Randy Orton. Sami Zayn utilizing all the time on the outside to hammer down the Viper as he goes into the cover here. And Randy Orton kicks out of the Blue Thunder Bomb. Sami's looking for the Koji clutch, excuse me. Looking for a submission maneuver on the Viper. Is Randy going to tap out to the Koji clutch? And of course there is no rope breaks because it is no disqualification. Randy able to free his right arm to deliver a sharp elbow to the temple of Sami Zayn. Throwing a hard kick. Randy Orton, one of the most dangerous men to ever step into a 20-by-20 ring. There's now the crowd here in Erie chanting RKO as Randy Orton repeats what he did to AJ last week to then escape the cage. Deliver on every limb that he can find as he goes in the cover on Sami, and Sami kicks out. Oh boy. Randy Orton stalking, calling for the RKO to Sami Zayn. Randy into the cover. And Sami Zayn with the wherewithal to kick out of the RKO. The underdog from the underground, Sami Zayn, kicking out of the RKO. As Randy Orton is seething. And Sami would survive the RKO as he goes for a sunset flip into the cover. And he almost got Randy Orton, almost pinned the multiple-time world champion. Not many men have kicked out of the RKO. And then again, they're never the same afterward. Randy Orton going to the top rope, looking for a superplex to Sami Zayn. And of course, that maneuver affecting both men as Randy goes into the cover. Hand over the face of Sami, and Sami kicks out. Randy delivers a double axe handle to Sami Zayn. Sami's looking for that exploder suplex into the turnbuckle. Sami might think he's got Randy's number here. Randy just shoves down Sami, forcing him to pin his shoulders to the mat. Randy rolls to the outside. What is he thinking here? He grabbed a baseball bat earlier, but now he's got a steel chair. He's looking to level Sami Zayn with it, but Sami able to hit the chair onto Randy. Now Randy's busted open into the loop that's pressing of both men. They're busted wide open. Randy's about to make matters worse by slamming Sami's head into the mat with a DDT there, but Sami to kick out of it. Sami with the haluva kick. Sami into the cover on Randy Orton. And Sami Zayn made his stock rise tenfold by knocking off Randy Orton. That's going to put a huge dent into the ego of Randy Orton. But skyrocket Sami Zayn for his career. The ultimate underdog from the underground did it. Defeated the 13-time world champion, Randy Orton. And of course, coming up next is our first Fatal 4-Way match to determine the number one contender, for the RCW Twitch TV Championship. And Cesaro tomorrow night at Hell on Earth. But they're going to face the champion inside Hell in a Cell. And of course, also one of the great upstarts from NXT, Apollo Crews, made a great debut showing against Rusev back at Winter's Wrath, our pay-per-view for the month of December. Now he's going to be vying for a spot to become number one contender for the Twitch TV Championship. And as Sami just defeated Randy Orton moments ago, let's hope that Kalisto is able to build some momentum since becoming a singles competitor to try and face Cesaro to become Twitch TV champion. But he's got to become number one contender first. Kalisto, a two-time United States champion and a former NXT Tag Team champion, with Sin Cara as a part of the Lucha Dragons. And here comes also one of the more dangerous men to ever step into a WWE ring, or a professional wrestling ring in that matter, Kevin Owens. A former NXT champion, Intercontinental champion, and WWE Universal champion. And of course, Kevin Owens way back in October. Kevin Owens was in the finals to become the inaugural RCW heavyweight champion, but of course that would be the last man to enter in this fatal 4-way. As I just alluded to earlier, Kevin Owens was in the finals for the RCW Heavyweight Championship, but so was this man, Bray Wyatt, and he ended up winning the tournament to become inaugural champion. We haven't seen Bray Wyatt since he won one-on-one with Goldberg back at Clash of Ages a number of weeks ago, because Bray Wyatt believed that if he can beat Goldberg, that he would be regaining some sort of supernatural power. to become heavyweight champion once again. But of course, one half of our general managers, Christian, believes that as a former world champion, he can already be in this fatal four-way match. And here we go. Apollo Crews and Bray Wyatt going at it, and Kevin Owens and Kalisto. Again, it always appears that we have two separate matches going on at the same time. One on the inside and one on the outside. As Kalisto delivers a kick to the back of Kevin Owens, and Wyatt and Apollo Crews are dishing it out on the outside. As Kevin Owens delivers a hard knee right to the chest of Kalisto, and a neck breaker to follow. Kalisto with a face buster to Kevin Owens. And a Hurricane Rana, and Apollo Crews hasn't been able to do much to Bray Wyatt on the outside. He goes for a full Nelson slam to the outside. And Kalisto with a springboard to Kevin Owens. Apollo Crews now just finally showing some signs of life against Bray Wyatt. This is mass chaos going on right now. And then, of course, Crews and Wyatt, they can't pin each other on the outside. You got to do it inside the ring. As Kevin Owens is just dominating Kalisto. Kalisto with a dragon screw take it down to Kevin Owens. Kalisto goes into the cover on Owens here. And Owens is kicking out before the count of two. Now Apollo Crews gets himself back in the ring. He's trying to stop Kalisto, but Kalisto going for it anyway. Bodies flying everywhere. Now Apollo Crews focusing on Kalisto, assuming that Kalisto was building some sort of momentum. As now Owens interjects himself. Now we got all four men inside the ring going at it. This is what we like to see. Bray Wyatt with a capture suplex to Kevin Owens. As now we have all four men on the outside. Apollo Crews was looking to possibly send Wyatt into the announce table at ringside. Showing off the strength and power that Crews has. Now Crews and Kalisto go back at it, but Kevin Owens is the only one inside the ring. Now Kevin Owens wants to join the party, but delivering a back body drop to Bray Wyatt, sending him a good 3 feet in the air. And now Wyatt sends Owens back inside the ring. Of course, this is a flashback to the finals for the Heavyweight Championship at the Autumn Rumble back a few months ago, with Wyatt and Owens going at it. As Kalisto's just sending Apollo Crews into the steel steps on the outside as Wyatt is looking to deliver the Sister Abigail. There's a crowd here in Erie, Pennsylvania chanting, "Bray's gonna kill ya." As Bray Wyatt delivers the Sister Abigail to Kevin Owens. And Kalisto and Apollo Crews don't even care that there's another match going on inside the ring, and Bray Wyatt wins. So now the stage is set that Bray Wyatt will face Cesaro inside Hell in a Cell tomorrow night for the RCW Twitch TV Championship. And of course, we still have to find a #1 contender for Chris Jericho later on tonight. Going up next, Ziggler and Samoa Joe. Joe possibly wanting to deal some more punishment to vent against losing to John Cena back at Clash of Ages. After he was robbed of a win against John Cena. Of course, back at Clash of Ages, John Cena John Cena had a pin onto Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe grabbed the bottom rope and the ref didn't see it, and Cena stole a victory over Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe has been absolutely furious since then. He destroyed Seth Rollins last week in the backstage area. Now he wants to get it all out against Dolph Ziggler. Of course, Dolph Ziggler, a two-time World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Money in the Bank, multiple-time Intercontinental Champion, former United States Champion. And then there's Samoa Joe, the first ever two-time NXT Champion, multiple-time champion down in TNA Wrestling. Samoa Joe also put many men on the shelf. Tyson Kidd. And at one point, Seth Rollins. We got a lot of dangerous men here, but we're not afraid to corral them. And here we go, one-on-one, Samoa Joe and Dolph Ziggler. Probably two of the most technically sound men to step into a wrestling ring. This, of course, Dolph Ziggler, a profound fan of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And adopted his style from the Heartbreak Kid. Ziggler was going for a super kick to the chest of Samoa Joe, looking for a drop kick and barely hitting it. And Dolph Ziggler will sit out face buster to Samoa Joe. Joe may be a very big man, but he's one of the quicker and most agile men you ever see step into a ring. As Ziggler continues to work the face and head of Samoa Joe. Dolph Ziggler's got some sort of strategy, and he's sticking to it as he goes to the top rope, Shawn Michaels style elbow. And Ziggler is trying to get the crowd behind him here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And Samoa Joe already taken down. Dolph Ziggler, another back body drop. And repeated kicks to the head of Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler rolls out to the outside to avoid any other damage. And another face buster from Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler now gets into the cover, doesn't shoot the half, he slides right in. And of course, Dolph Ziggler, a very accomplished amateur wrestler down in Kent State. And Samoa Joe, more of a brawler, but he can grapple with the best of them. And of course, here in RCW, Samoa Joe was the inaugural Twitch TV champion. Of course, defeated by the current champion, Cesaro. Back at Thanks for Nothing. Ziggler now laying down a series of elbows to the chest of Samoa Joe. 10 to be exact. Ziggler looking for the single leg Boston Crab to the big frame of Samoa Joe. Maybe trying to wear down the leg or possibly even trying to make Joe submit here. Like I said, Joe can grapple with the best of him. He just shoves Ziggler right off. And the snap suplex from Samoa Joe. This match so far has been all Dolph Ziggler, but Samoa Joe can turn it around with just a few strikes. And Samoa Joe with a running enziguri off the ropes. Now Joe works the legs. Dolph Ziggler knowing that Ziggler utilizes the super kick. Oh no, Joe with a huge power bomb to Dolph Ziggler. And Ziggler barely able to shake off Joe with a standing drop kick. And another elbow and a kip up. Now Joe delivering a trio of elbows and busting open Dolph Ziggler. And of course we know what Dolph Ziggler is also made of. As Samoa Joe gets the Dragon Sleeper onto Dolph Ziggler. We know what Dolph Ziggler is capable of. He survived a hellacious match against Randy Orton in the kickoff of the Autumn Rumble months ago, taking 3 RKOs before finally being put away. It looks like Joe was looking for an exploder suplex. But Ziggler counters with a swinging neck breaker. Ziggler into the cover on Joe here. And Joe kicking out at 2.5. Ziggler going to the top rope. He's comfortable up there. Dolph Ziggler looking for the Famouser from the top rope. Of course, the Famouser made famous by... No, there's the Famouser. Excuse me, made famous by the badass Billy Gunn, one half of the New Age Outlaws. Ziggler for a sit-out neck breaker. Ziggler now might be looking to finish this match against Samoa Joe. Possibly looking for a zigzag, but Samoa Joe with the counter. Looking for the trio of suplexes. The German into the full Nelson. And into another German suplex into the bridge. Joe's put men away with this maneuver. And Ziggler kicks out. We all know what happens next after those trio of suplexes from Samoa Joe. A running senton usually sets up afterward with the coquina clutch or the muscle buster. Joe's looking for a DDT. Ziggler with a knee. Another sit-out face buster. This time Joe's busted open. Two different styles colliding. This is what we like to see here. As Joe, excuse me, Ziggler gets Joe into the pin and Joe kicks out. Standing drop kick from Dolph Ziggler to the back and neck of Samoa Joe as Joe just shakes off Ziggler. And delivers a double knees to the crimson mask that Dolph Ziggler is wearing against Samoa Joe. As Ziggler was looking to deliver some sort of maneuver against Joe up against the ropes, and Joe sending Dolph Ziggler crashing to the outside. As he rolls him back inside the ring, this is where he wants the match to go. And Dolph Ziggler again with another Famouser. Not quoting too much from Randy Orton, but from out of nowhere, Dolph Ziggler hits that Famouser. And now Ziggler continues to work the legs of Samoa Joe. Now Ziggler is looking to tune up the band. Deliver a super kick to Samoa Joe as he shoots the half into the cover on Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe kicks out. What a match between these two. And of course, when done right, any match is great when it's done well. As Joe brought Ziggler down. You just see the busted face of Dolph Ziggler and his blood making his way down to his chest as Samoa Joe again looking for the German. Full Nelson into a German, into the bridge. And Ziggler just barely kicking out of that. As Joe looks to deal more punishment to Dolph Ziggler, repeatedly kicking the already bloodied face of Dolph Ziggler. As he goes for a running enziguri. And Ziggler still fighting back. As Ziggler now goes back into the cover on Joe. And the crowd here in Erie, Pennsylvania on their feet for this match. They know what kind of great action they're seeing as Samoa Joe slides out the back door. Oh boy. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's got the Coquina clutch. On the Dolph Ziggler, this is how he won the Twitch TV Championship back at the Autumn Rumble, and Ziggler's forced to tap out. As the crowd is honestly shocked and surprised, as am I. But Samoa Joe was able to put away Dolph Ziggler with the Coquina clutch. Joe's ready for Rollins tomorrow night. I think the better question is Rollins ready for Joe? Great match between these two competitors. And I would honestly like to see them go at it again one more time. This was a great match. You see the closing moments right here. Samoa Joe with the rear naked choke, and then he just had to get the scissors around the frame of Dolph Ziggler, and it was all over. As now we're going to hear from our other general manager, the Hall of Famer, the Rated R Superstar Edge, as he's looking to address who's going to be in the Fatal 4-Way match to be #1 contender. Against Chris Jericho tomorrow night. Inside Hell in a Cell for the World Heavyweight Championship. Wow, what a match we just saw, ladies and gentlemen. Samoa Joe and Dolph Ziggler. But of course, that's not why I'm out here. I'm out here to introduce, or rather to announce the competitors for the Fatal 4-Way match for the #1 contendership for the RCW Heavyweight Championship. The men that will be competing to become #1 contender to face my former buddy Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship tomorrow night are the phenomenal one AJ Styles, the Lone Wolf Baron Corbin, the Lunatic Fringe Dean Ambrose, and Austin Aries. I'm glad to see that you guys support our decision for who's going to be in that match coming up in our main event. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night for Hell on Earth. Wow. That's also another huge star-studded Fatal 4-Way match. As you just heard from our other general manager, the #1 contenders for the heavyweight championship. AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Ambrose, and Austin Aries. Austin Aries had a match with Chris Jericho last week. Excuse me, a couple of weeks ago. Rather. Well, Jericho had a match with Austin Aries, and Austin Aries gave it all he got against the champion, but it wasn't enough. As the former Intercontinental Champion and former Tag Team Champion, Curtis Axel, making his in-ring debut for RCW against the current World Champion, Chris Jericho, after we were all surprised that Curtis Axel was here last week, interrupting Chris Jericho. And here comes our world champion, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, a record-setting 9-time Intercontinental Champion over in WWE. Former United States Champion. He was the first ever undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, unifying the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship back at Unforgiven almost a decade ago. Jericho, one of the greatest of all time. I'm always happy to see him come out to the RCW ring wearing the championship, because I know he does the championship proudly. So here we go, Chris Jericho, the heavyweight champion, against Curtis Axel. As I alluded to earlier, Curtis Axel, the former Intercontinental Champion, defeating Big E Langston a number of years ago on Father's Day to become Intercontinental Champion. Of course, Curtis Axel being the son of the late great Hall of Famer Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. And of course, in my honest opinion, Curtis Axel is one of the great talents that hasn't been fully utilized over in WWE, but here in RCW, we're glad to give anybody an opportunity. As Jericho delivers a huge standing drop kick to Curtis Axel. And what this could do wonders for Curtis Axel if he defeats Chris Jericho here tonight in his debut. Curtis Axel, the belly to belly to Chris Jericho. It's Jericho with a backbreaker to Curtis Axel, and Jericho onto the top rope here. And a huge crossbody, but barely able to get anything off that crossbody. As Curtis Axel takes down Jericho, but he barely shoots the half into the cover on Jericho, and Jericho kicks out. Jericho looked like he was delivering an elbow, but Curtis Axel just shaking it off. Like his Hulkamania gimmick. Jericho took him down with a dragon screw takeover and then an elbow. Jericho now works the arm of Curtis Axel. And a springboard. His Irish whip goes Jericho into the far left corner of the ring. Curtis Axel sending him back to the other side. And Jericho meeting him with an elbow. And Curtis Axel is taking it to our world champion. As Curtis Axel running. Clothesline to the champion. I know, I honestly can't believe that Curtis Axel is taking it to our world champion, but he is. As the referee now is on a count of 3 as these two are fighting on the outside. As Jericho sends Axel right into the barricade. The referee now at a count of 5. Count of 6 as Jericho wisely rolls back into the ring. But as the crowd here in Erie is just chanting Jericho sucks, they're behind Curtis Axel to knock off the champion. And crafty veteran Jericho with a DDT. As Jericho now looking to roll Curtis Axel over onto his belly for the walls of Jericho, but Curtis Axel was pretty close to the ropes, but I guess he's gotten far enough to where he can't reach the bottom rope. And Curtis Axel, also an amateur wrestler, Jericho with the code breaker, was able to break out of the walls of Jericho, but Jericho didn't go to the cover off the code breaker. He wants to deliver more punishment to the upstart with an elbow into the cover. Axel might have had enough time to recuperate off of the code breaker after Jericho didn't elect to go into the cover. As Axel gets in the cover on Jericho, and Jericho kicks out. Curtis Axel is taking it to our champion. As Jericho now might be looking to end this match. Curtis Axel, the face buster, and then a backbreaker. And double knees to the face, and Jericho's busted open. What a huge upset this would be if Axel knocks off Jericho in his debut. And he honestly might be looking to do that here right now. Curtis Axel with the face buster shoots the half into the cover. Oh my God. Curtis Axel has just pinned the world champion in his debut. Oh my God. What the hell did we just see? Curtis Axel just pinned the world champion Chris Jericho. Wow. You'll see it right there with the face buster. Curtis Axel has just pinned the world champion. Wow. Impressive debut for Curtis Axel. I'm still in shock. You might be looking at the new face of RCW at some point in the future. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Sasha Banks. Maybe to discuss that she's not appearing anywhere near the RCW heavyweight, the RCW Women's Championship. You know what? I'm tired of this. I really am. I'm tired of this. I'm tired that I am constantly overlooked. I defeat a Hall of Famer back at Clash of Ages, and I'm still nowhere in the Women's Championship picture. So that's why, Nikki Bella, I want you to come out here right now. Whoa. Sasha Banks calling out the champ. What do you want, Sasha? What do I want? Gee, let me think. What do I want? I want a shot at you in the RCW Women's Championship right here, right now. But luckily for me, this show is almost over, so, you know, there's going to be no other championship match this week. You know what? This is ludicrous. I defeated Lita, a Hall of Famer that every woman here looked up and idolized to get here, to this point. But you know what? Maybe all the women in the back and all the women watching at home should be looking at me. Watch me and admire me. No, Nikki, you've gotten everything handed to you on a silver platter because your boyfriend is John Cena. Me, I have to work. I have to scratch and claw my way to get where I want to be. You know what, Sasha? You want a shot at me in the Women's Championship? You've got it. tomorrow night. Hell on Earth. And Sasha laying it into Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella agreeing to include Sasha Banks into the Women's Championship match tomorrow night. So, unless we hear different from our general managers, tomorrow night it's going to be a triple threat match. And Charlotte's not going to be happy about that either, considering their history between Sasha and Charlotte. Whoa. But before Baron Corbin enters the Fatal 4-Way in our main event, he's going to go against Finn Balor inside of a steel cage. Let's hope for Balor's sake that he can get this match over and done with, so Corbin can still be relatively fresh for the Fatal 4-Way World Heavyweight Championship #1 contenders match. And here comes the lone wolf, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin loves to fight. He's a former Golden Gloves boxing champion before coming over to WWE and NXT and now to RCW. Baron Corbin was also in the quarterfinals back when we had the tournament to find the inaugural heavyweight champion, and survived a battle royal to get to the quarterfinals, or the semifinals rather. Of course, Baron Corbin can do that if he can survive Finn Balor right now, and then the Fatal 4-Way coming up in our main event. And here comes Finn Balor. Finn Balor, the former NXT champion, one of the longest reigning champions in NXT. The former inaugural WWE Universal Champion. And of course, it's safe to assume that tomorrow night, when Finn Balor gets locked inside Hell in a Cell with Randy Orton, that we're not going to see this Finn Balor. We're going to get the Demon King Finn Balor against the Viper Randy Orton, as Randy Orton fell to a no disqualification match earlier tonight against Sami Zayn. And Finn Balor survived a no disqualification match last week against Kane. And we're about to see if Finn Balor can win a steel cage match against Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf. As everyone's on their feet here in Erie, Pennsylvania for Finn Balor. They know what a hell of a superstar he is. As the cage descends. And here we go. Finn Balor and Baron Corbin, they had their shares down in NXT. But they seem to be on two different paths when they were down in NXT, as Baron Corbin with that boxing background lays a left hand on Finn Balor. And of course, I don't think that Baron Corbin, as he goes into the cover now, I don't think Baron Corbin was fully aware that he was going to be included in the Fatal 4-Way match that's coming up next in our main event. To become #1 contender, as Finn goes for the sling blade. Balor top rope with an elbow. And I think if you're Baron Corbin, you hope that you can either survive long enough against Finn Balor that you were fresh enough for the Fatal 4-Way coming up next, or you hope that Finn Balor just gets the match over and done with. As Baron Corbin now works the legs of Finn Balor, neutralizing his finishing maneuver, the coup de grace. At least to attempt to wear down his legs. As Finn went for the Pele. Now Finn Balor is scaling the cage wall on the right side of your screen. And Corbin meeting him halfway. And both men careen back to the mat. As now Corbin goes to the middle rope. Deliver a double axe handle to Finn Balor. And Finn Balor with a high knee to Corbin. As Finn immediately goes back to the top rope. And he goes for that missile drop kick. Beautifully executed. As Finn delivers an elbow to the heart of Baron Corbin. As the crowd here in Erie is all behind Finn Balor in this matchup. Finn Balor might be looking to end this match a little early as he's going for the running missile drop kick to the middle turnbuckle. As he goes to his top rope. Coup de grace onto Baron Corbin. Now Balor into the cover. And Corbin just barely surviving. Is able to kick out of the coup de grace. As Balor's back on the middle rope, doing double axe handle. As Corbin now is looking to scale the wall to escape the cage, to proceed to the Fatal 4-Way coming up, but Balor sends him back to the mat. Corbin again with the left hand. That hard jab straight to the jaw of Finn Balor. I don't know what Balor was looking for, or what Corbin was looking for, but Balor countered. And of course, Baron Corbin, the winner of the third annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, as he busts open Finn Balor here, driving his face directly into the mat. Baron Corbin laying a hard right hand to Finn Balor as he climbs the cage. Of course, that boxing background serving Corbin well as he's now escaping the cage. And Finn still has no idea where he is. But I think he's now realizing that Baron Corbin survives the steel cage, and Baron Corbin can now safely enter the Fatal 4-Way coming up next to look to become #1 contender for the Heavyweight Championship and Chris Jericho tomorrow night. As we've already just seen moments ago that Chris Jericho was pinned by an upset against Curtis Axel. Corbin survives Balor, but can Corbin survive the Fatal 4-Way in moments? And this, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is our main event. The Fatal 4-Way to determine the #1 contender for Chris Jericho's RCW Heavyweight Championship. As the greatest man that has ever lived, Austin Aries looks to step foot into the Fatal 4-Way. As we just saw moments ago, Baron Corbin surviving the steel cage match against Finn Balor. And Baron Corbin's competing in 2 back-to-back matches. Just beat Finn Balor and look to win the Fatal 4-Way. What a great career boost that would be for Baron Corbin. As you can see, he's walking very gingerly back to the ring after the Fatal 4-Way, or excuse me, after the steel cage match. as all the other three men are fresh. And here comes the former WWE champion, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. As he still dons the RCW colors. And what a match this would be if AJ Styles won the Fatal 4-Way and faced Jericho, rematch from WrestleMania 32. Then here comes the wild card. The Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, former Mr. Money in the Bank. Former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, cashed it in on the same night to win that title. Dean Ambrose, one of the longest reigning United States champions. He is a two-time Intercontinental Champion. As this would also do great for Dean Ambrose if he can win the Fatal 4-Way and face Jericho, knowing their history together, Jericho and Ambrose, as they fought in the first ever Ambrose Asylum match. As now, once again, two separate matches are going on. Aries and Ambrose, and Styles and Corbin on the outside. As Styles is just taking it to Baron Corbin on the outside, dropping him every single place on the barricade. And again, this is our main event. To determine the #1 contender for Jericho's World Heavyweight Championship tomorrow night. As I'm now being told that it is confirmed that tomorrow night Sasha Banks will be in the RCW Women's Championship match tomorrow night inside Hell in a Cell against Charlotte and Nikki Bella for the Women's Championship. Sasha Banks believes that she has earned that opportunity since she defeated Lita at Clash of Ages. As now Ambrose rolled into the cover gingerly after being knocked off the turnbuckle. Ambrose was technicality on the cover on Corbin, but the ref didn't see it. As Baron Corbin has spilled the outside and has continued. Ambrose and Aries on the inside. As we saw earlier on tonight in the other Fatal 4-Way match, Bray Wyatt becomes #1 contender for Cesaro's Twitch TV Championship tomorrow night inside Hell in a Cell at Hell on Earth tomorrow night. As Ambrose delivers a huge powerbomb to Austin Aries. Ambrose with an elbow to Aries as Corbin does the same to Styles on the outside. Aries under the cover on Ambrose, and Ambrose kicks out. As AJ Styles delivers a huge DDT to Baron Corbin on the outside. As Aries continues to lay down knees to the back of Dean Ambrose. And AJ sends Corbin back into the ring. Now all 4 men are in the ring now. And I kind of take that back. You know, Ambrose and Aries are on the outside, and Styles delivering an Ishinoku driver to Baron Corbin, and Corbin sending him into the corner, and he does it again. Deliver hard strikes as Aries has got a double leg Boston Crab on Ambrose on the outside, but it's not going to do anything except wear down Ambrose. And now Corbin and AJ Styles went for a back superplex. Ambrose with a DDT to Austin Aries. Aries rolls out of the ring. Great ring presence by Aries to roll out of the ring. As Ambrose delivers a headbutt, and AJ might be looking for the phenomenal forearm, but Ambrose is also on the top rope. Then they both go for Baron Corbin, and only Ambrose caught Corbin. Ambrose, dirty deeds to AJ Styles as Aries just looks on. Ambrose into the cover on AJ, and Aries broken up, excuse me. And Aries with a submission onto Ambrose, and Corbin breaking it up. This is what a real fatal 4-way looks like. It looked like Styles is looking to go into the cover on Aries, but it goes in the cover on Ambrose, and Baron Corbin breaks it up. This is what fatal 4-ways are all about, ladies and gentlemen. Someone always ready to stop you. Hard right hand from Corbin to Styles. And a deep 6 from Baron Corbin as he's looking to build momentum after just beating Finn Balor moments ago, as Aries and Ambrose on the outside. And a hard knee from Baron Corbin to AJ Styles as Corbin looking for the end of days to AJ Styles. Corbin into the cover. And AJ barely breaking out as Ambrose is looking to possibly deliver an elbow to Baron Corbin if AJ didn't kick out. And a huge spine buster from Ambrose. AJ goes in the cover on Corbin, and Corbin kicks out. Ambrose rolls back into the ring, but constantly going back to the top rope to deliver punishment to Austin Aries on the outside. Ambrose is one loony character. Dean Ambrose has no sense of his own well-being. That he just keeps going back to the top rope and delivering drops to Austin Aries on the outside as AJ goes for the Bloody Sunday, a variant of the 1916 used by his buddy Finn Balor. As now AJ is more or less the only man standing in this match as Baron Corbin gets back to his feet. And Corbin rolls back in the ring, not sure what to do, as he now targets Austin Aries. And AJ and Ambrose with their rivalry over the WWE Championship. As Ambrose rolls into the cover on AJ, and AJ kicks out at 2. As Corbin now looks to send Aries back inside the ring after an Undertaker-style leg drop. And AJ with a calf crusher on Styles, but I'm not sure exactly what happened, but AJ had the calf crusher, and Corbin again with another deep 6 into the cover, and AJ kicks out. What a sequence. As Corbin again is looking for the end of days to AJ Styles. As he rolls into the cover, And Austin Aries just breaking out of it. And looks like Ambrose is just going to let it happen. We could have seen Baron Corbin win the Fatal 4-Way if Austin Aries didn't break out, but now Styles. Styles looking for the Styles Clash to Baron Corbin. AJ into the cover. And AJ will face Chris Jericho tomorrow night inside Hell in a Cell, and there you see it right there, the double team maneuver more or less to Baron Corbin. Now I cannot wait tomorrow night for the World Heavyweight Championship Hell in a Cell match. Now that AJ Styles has finally climbed to the top after 3 other men to face Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be a rematch from their match out back at WrestleMania. But they're finally being accepted by the RCW universe. AJ Styles finally reaches the mountaintop. On top of the division to face Jericho tomorrow night. Congratulations, AJ. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow night for RCW Hell on Earth.